All right, fam, let's get into it. It's your boy Chadsky here, bringing you content just about every day. And whether that's streams or videos, we always like to give you the real rock life application for our content that we give you. We're going to try to make you better players. That's what we're trying to do. And we always encourage everybody to join the Discord that we've got. The Discord link is in the description of the video. It's in all my videos. And you can join our Discord. This is where a lot of these conversations come from. This is where we talk through some things and we find out video ideas. And I try to get this information out to the public as fast as I can. And the one thing we're going to go through today, because it's been asked about many times, so many people, and probably the most popular KvK right now is the King of all Britain. It's brand new. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people have already experienced it. More kingdoms are going into it as time goes on. And so this is a quick guide into how this thing works and how it plays out and what happens. And it's actually a really cool thing that we do. Okay, and so when you look at this KvK, I'm in it right now and chilling in Kingsland, okay? And there's some things we got to talk about because you've got your provinces. Here's how the map looks. It's the first KvK that we actually have an ocean. So with that being said, here's how this thing works out. You got 4 camps, okay? So let's go through them real quick. We'll go through the 4 camps, and that is how it works. Now, you have 2 Viking camps and 2 English camps. Now, it doesn't matter who your allies are because you can have English fighting English and Viking fighting Viking. That doesn't matter. So none of that matters. But it does give it a cool dynamic. So if you see here in pre-KvK training, here's the unique part about this KvK. In pre-KvK training or in pre-KvK event, you've got marauders to start with, then you got your training, then you've got your marauder forts, right? So what everybody has to understand when it comes to this is that you're not competing in pre-KvK for particular buffs. You're competing to get first choice in which camp you want to go into. It's very unique. I like it because if Diplo gets contentious, you can use the territory as a part of the negotiating in Diplo. You can literally take the allies and everybody reserves which spot they're going to go into. Each camp has different buffs, and some might be better than others, but ultimately, I don't think it matters too much. So Northumbria is the one at the top. Okay, it's a Viking camp. Okay, all the Viking camps, you're going to get March speed for infantry, and then you're going to get another buff. So this one has all damage 3%. It's the best buff you can get from all the camps. So that's probably the most sought after one. You can see 365 won pre-KvK in hours, and they chose Northumbria. The second place probably has the best position because they can dictate the entire KvK. Okay, so second place was 2377. That was our allies. They chose to come down here to Wessex. Okay, let me go down here. And Wessex is an English camp, so the English camps get 3% march speed, and then Wessex gives field troop damage of 3%. That fits perfect for 2377, a massive field fighting kingdom. They really like that. However, they dictated how this KvK was going to go because they could have easily gone over here to Mercia and fought 365 in Zone 5. Or they could have come over here to East Anglia, where we ended up being, and they could have fought 365 in Zone 5 here. But they chose the buff and they chose to go south. So now 3310 and 1718 got to choose, and they chose Mercia. Mercia gives the archer march speed plus garrison damage taken negative 3%. That's good for the garrisons. And then by default, we were given East Anglia. So we got the infantry march speed because this is considered a Viking camp, and the rallied army damage of 3%. We like that. We do a lot of rallies. That really helped us with some of our rallies. But, overall, the buffs aren't like meta game changing. They're good. They're really good, but it's not going to make or break a KvK, in my opinion, unless the margins are that thin. So with this being said, this is how this set up. So just understand, if you finish second in pre-KvK event of King of all Britain, you're actually in the driver's seat, because regardless where the first place camp goes, you can dictate how the fights are going to be made. It's really, really cool how that takes place. And so I like that side of things. It's actually a really cool setup, and they give some historical context to this. It's a lot of fun. And so with that, we get into, like, now we're going to talk Zone 5, and let's talk about some of the other things, okay? Here is basically the page that you're going to get. These are all the different things you're going to look at. You got your bastions, like always, okay? You've got stratagems in this KvK. We'll get into that in a second. You've got a new event called Homgang, okay? And that's what we're going to get into now. But before we do, you've got your exhibition leaderboard with your honor roll. You've got your exhibition leaderboard that's got your kill points, your deads, all that stuff. I finished top 10 and everything in this particular KvK. They do an analysis on your king skills. They do all kinds of different things. War of Conquest, you know how this works. This is where your KvK is, and you have your give and receive and all that stuff. So this is where a lot of this stuff is, like any other KvK. But Homgang is important. Okay, because Homgang is the best place to get currency for your stratagems. The stratagems are set up with currency, okay? So you have to have currency to buy the stratagems, and then you have to have currency to activate them if you're gonna keep editing them and changing them. So that's the beauty, is that you can change your stratagems. It just costs you some currency. Well, it's very important, especially before Zone 5, okay? Before you get into Zone 5 here, and we fought 365 here, all right? You're gonna have a round of Homgang. Homgang is done in rounds. It's done in 5-day or 6-day rounds, and by finishing each day, you get currency. Okay, so in Homgang, you can kind of see here you've got duel in round 1 that goes for about, I think, 6 days, and then you have a day off, and then round 2, and then round 3, and so you do this, and you're basically fighting for some buffs. I think a March speed buff to try to finish top 15, and then on top of that, what you're doing is gearing up your rewards. So after every day, these are the currency you can receive after every day, depending on where you finish in Homgang, okay? The round rewards is at the end of the round. That is a big one. So if you're trying to get as much currency as you can for the stratagems, for Zone 5, that's where it's critical, because not everybody has the currency. Then Homgang is very important, okay? You go to your lineup that we can't do now, but it's just like Canyon, except it's like Golden Kingdom. That means you can bring all your T5 marches, as your troop cap, everything. Now, here's the thing about Homgang. You have to understand. All of your crystal tech works in Homgang, okay? So regardless of where you are in crystal tech, that's why a lot of people were pushing call to arms as high as they could. A lot of people were pushing as much tech as they could, because that translates into Homgang. So your high-tech players are going to do it in Homgang. Now, Homgang is a 3-team event, or a 3-player event. So you and 2 of your buddies get on a team. And when you get on a team, then you're going to fight Homgang. You've got so many, you've got 9 hits a day. It's a little intricate on how you're supposed to hit it and how you're supposed to do it. We did it in streams a little bit. And it's like Canyon. You basically try to hit higher ranked opponents for more points, and you're going to go head to head. You're going to basically do a head to head. The top guys in each team that you're hitting are going to hit each other, and it's done completely like Canyon. You're on the attacking side, and they're on the defensive side. But the thing you have to remember about home gaming is, however you set your lineup, that's how you're going to attack and defend. You cannot change that. So when you hit that, you're going to hit. You sign up that you're going to hit somebody. You're going to go hit another team. Your top line, it was always me, would go against their top line. If I won, then I carried over to the next one, and then they would get me on their second one. But you basically do it collaboratively, 3v3. And that's how you get your rankings in home game, which is very important, because your rankings in the home game dictate your currency, okay, up here for which stratagems you want. Okay, now the beauty with this KvK is that you have different strategies for different parts of the KvK. Overall, it's all the same strategies, but each King of all Britain is different as far as what they give you for Zone 5, what they give you for Zone 6, what they give you for Kingsland. It's all different how it laid out. I'll have a card up in the top because I go through an entire stratagems breakdown, and I tier them and rank them on how you want to do it, whether you're fielding, rallying, garrisoning. So it's very, very important to do this. The stratagems are very important, like anybody in any other stratagem, and it also has the martial talents, which is kind of cool. So you're able to use that for infantry, cavalry, however you want to do it for the martial talents. And that's how that works. Okay. So now that we've gone through the Homgang and the stratagems, this is really setting up for kind of a cool KvK. Well, then you get into zone 5, and these are like the sanctuaries here. You got 3 in each zone 5. The middle one is always going to be the all damage. Excuse me. And then down here, the other 2 are going to be march speed. Okay. So basically you can fight for zone 5s and do it however you want, but that is kind of how that thing is going to. So when you look down here, each zone 5 is going to have the exact same. The middle one's going to be all damage of 3%. It's very big. And that is something you're going to want. And then the other 2 are going to be march speed. You can see that we had an uncontested zone 5 here. This is our shared zone 5 with our allies. So we took these. 2377 took the ones against their enemies. And then 365, after 5 days of fighting, we let them have this one as well. So everything was good there. So zone 5s are a lot of fun. They last over a week. If you want them to, they're great. And depending on where you're at, the buffs are much, you want to fight for them if you can. Okay. So then we get into zone 6, and zone 6 introduces what we call the burrs. Okay. So there's English and Viking burrs. These are like little areas here that about every other day you can raid these, and you get 150 currency of the stratagem points. So these are good. You're going to want to do that, and your alliance leaders will tell you when they're open. You basically bring your marches in here. Everybody comes in here, kills all these things, raids all the buildings, and then you get your currency when you raid it. So you have English burrs and you have Viking burrs. So that's kind of how this thing plays out. And so those are always very important in zone 6. Now, here's the other part of this. Each camp has their own zone 6. Okay. Wessex is the only camp that could go into Oxford here. So that was 2377. We in East Anglia had Cambridge. We were the only camp that could get into Cambridge. And then the same thing with Derby, and then the same thing with Warwick. Okay. So all 4 camps had their own zone 6. You populate it, as you can see here. You got all the territory covered up. That way you can't invade that. And then in the meantime, you run the altars. Now each zone 6 is connected with an altar. So we fought for this a couple of times, and then we had a shared one. So you can set that up however you want. And then pass 7's open. Okay. And this is where it got crazy. So we all know this in every KvK. Pass 7s to invade the enemy zone 6 is always going to open a few days before Kingsland. Okay, we all know that. Let's go back to the Alliance here. We all know how that's going to work. So we did that. We really couldn't penetrate them, and they couldn't penetrate ours, obviously. Now, here's the interesting part about the map. Getting from their pass 7, or our pass 7 that was shared with 365, down to their pass 8 is an easy walk. Okay, it is not very far. Look how far the walk is from here. This pass 7 all the way down to our pass 8 is much further. So you do have some advantages there. Same thing here. If we were fighting against 2377, we're right there. Okay. And they have to walk all the way up here. And this one here is probably the closest. Okay. But even if you ford up and do what you're supposed to do, you can't penetrate. So basically what this means is that everybody gets to go to Kingsland, or what we call Nottingham. Okay. Everybody gets to go to Kingsland. In each one of these zone 6s, not to be remiss, you have what we call these circles, or these are the Monastery of Divine Mercy. It gives all kinds of different buffs, and that's the same thing as our circles that we see in other KvKs. Okay, so that's kind of a cool thing in how those things work. Okay, so we've gone through Zone 4's got the regular stuff with the ruins and your Crusader forts. Your Zone 5 have the sanctuary equivalents, and Zone 6, you've got the circle equivalents. Okay. Then you get into Kingsland, and it is not a very big Kingsland. It's relatively small. Like that's all of Kingsland right here. Okay. So with that, you got to go hard. And the advice I give everybody is that Zone 6, you're going to be by yourself, so you have safe passage in the Kingsland, okay? Typically, you're going to have 2 for your allies, 2 for you, 2 for your enemy, 2 for your enemy. However it's going to set up, either top and bottom versus left and right, or just one side versus the other, and that's how it's going to be. And so with that, Kingsland is so uber important because it's so small. You've literally got to tell your campmates and your alliance, you got to go hard for 24 hours. You got to stay in it for 24 hours. If you do not, you can get run out of Kingsland so fast. We saw 2377 that was down here. These two switched sides. So 365 came down here on these passes, and 1718 and 3310 came up here to fight us. So we fought those guys up here, and then 365 and 2377 fought down here. And you take a breath, and you're out of Kingsland. Like 365 had a little bit of a downtime. They didn't have much show up. And the next thing you know, 2377 pierced right through their line and got them out of Kingsland so fast. And so it is a small Kingsland, so everything comes down to this. And if you don't gear up and you're not ready to go fight for 24 hours straight just to hold during downtime, then you're going to get run out of Kingsland. Okay, and so that's the biggest piece of advice I could give anybody. All right, so overall, this KvK is so much fun. There's a lot of stuff to do. You've got a cool storyline here. You got all the different things here when it comes to your chronicles. You've got that you're seeing. When it comes to your war conquest, you got all that. You come to the exhibition, you've got your honor roll, you've got your autarch stuff set up here. I finished top 10 and everything there. Let's see. Top 10 and everything when it came to the individual kill points, deads, and healing. You've got your stratagems. You've got your bastions. You've got all the things. There are no support skills here. So you got your bastions, got your Hall of Heroes. This is a cool little effect that they give now for your whole camps or your kingdom's Hall of Heroes. You've got your autarch shop and your combat shop for KvK. So you get all this cool stuff, and that's how this stuff has worked out. So this is it was a lot of fun. I love the pre-KvK stuff. Being able to finish and try to get first ranking, but if you got second ranking, you don't get a buff immediately from pre-KvK. You get to choose the province you want that comes with the buff you want. But be careful, because it also lets you choose how you dictate the KvK is going to be fought. Okay, just like we said, 2377 came down here, which means they weren't going to see 365 until Kingsland. Okay, now we let 2377 build over here and help us fight 365 on this pass for a little while, but that lasted like a day. But it's really was for Kingsland. So you got to be careful. If you're a big Imperium and you're facing another big Imperium, and you can either decide, if you're the second place one, you can either decide if you're going to fight the other big Imperium in Zone 5, or if you're going to wait till Kingsland. 2377 decided to wait till Kingsland. They didn't get much of a fight over here, so they didn't have much of a fight until a little bit in Pass 7 and then all Kingsland, and that was it. That's all they got to fight. Meanwhile, we fought over here 365 for about 4 or 5 days in Zone 5, and then we fought on the pass for 3 days. It was a blast, and then we finally got into Kingsland. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of different ways you can do this kind of KvK. I encourage everybody to at least go try it out. It's really cool. The stratagems are cool to use, and they're very good, but they're not just like crazy overpowering, but there's cool ones that you can use. Do or Die is a unique one that I spent 18 million power, almost 19 million power, to make sure my field troops had 10% damage when they fought against other field troops and rallied armies. It's great for swarming rallies, right? You got Hymn of Heroes, you got Rousing Drums. This is where Philip comes in, because now when you're buffing any of your marches, you get a crazy 15% less damage effect for 5 seconds. Rhythm of War enhances that, so you have some red stratagems. And again, I'll have a card in the top for my stratagems guide, okay? But you have these purple ones that will kind of buff the red ones. So instead of 5 seconds, it's now 8 seconds. So you got all kinds of different things to use there. The other thing I'll say on this KvK that's really cool, this is kind of the King of all Britain. This is kind of the Viking KvK, right? So Ragnar's a big deal because Ragnar comes with this little thing right here. This is his little artifact. I don't even want to try to pronounce that, but basically it makes Ragnar a all-encompassing commander. He's like, all the buffs he has from his skills are for any troop type. Okay, so all these skills, you can see this thing right here. It's got the artifact there. So infantry, you can go all infantry, but it's all troop types. Okay, so you can put him behind commanders. So Ragnar's great because now you can put him behind Huo, and you can do different things with that. And you can put him behind archer marches, okay? And you can do other cavalry marches. You can use him however you want. He has a built-in artifact, okay? So with that, and the artifact, I've got it on Shazar here, and the artifact we use here, I've got it for infantry now, but typically I do it for cav. you have some really cool dynamics to where you can kind of move around commanders and do different things for fighting. And so with the artifacts, you know what that comes with? It comes with Attila's on the rally, Attila's with Scipio Emilianus, Gorgo Attila's. It comes with, you know, Ash and Tariq, and it comes with, you know, Justinian and Ash, and you can mix and match and do all those fun things with the artifact. That makes it a lot of fun. So there's cool things in this and dynamics in this KvK. We loved it overall. We loved how it played. It had a good flow to it. Homgang made it worthwhile, you know, to try to be competitive in that. And there was always kind of something to do in the KvK. And so we had altar fights, we had all kinds of different stuff to do. And so these altars, obviously, like I said, they open up and you can fight people in the other camps. And so it is a really, really cool way to go about this KvK. And with that being said, that gives you everything you need to know. If you got any questions, jump on my Discord, ask questions, or you can comment below, and I interact with all those comments. And this is a great KvK, a lot of fun, and encourage everybody to go try it. So until next time, y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later, broskies.